Hi, back again, annoying people by showing logical fallacies. Number 46. Like I said, just in case, fair use, educational purposes, but this is from the utep.edu, University of Texas, El Paso. We're down to number 46, equivocation. Like I said, fair use anyway, educational purposes. Only applies to the person. I'm not a person. I'm a man, very much alive. Thank you very much. I'm an individual. Fallacy of deliberately failing to define one's terms or knowingly and deliberately using words in a different sense than the one the audience will understand. So basically when they say, well, of course the earth is round. Well, what do you mean by round? Define what you mean by round. You know what I mean? A coin is round. It's not spherical though, is it? A hula hoop is round, it's not spherical. A donut is round, it's not spherical. A circle is round, it's not spherical. You know what I mean? Like when they do, oh no, yeah, water's level, yeah, level to the centre of the earth. So you mean curved then? No, it's level to the centre of the earth. But the water still has to curve. No, level means something different in science. So why are you changing the meaning of a word? Well, it's only a theory. I bet theory means something different in science. Well, so you deliberately not defining your terms, you're knowingly and deliberately using words in a different sense than the one that ordinary people will understand. Yeah, so that's equivocation. So you're using the fallacy. Yeah. Example: President Bill Clinton stating that he did not have sexual relations with that woman, meaning no sexual penetration, knowing full well that the audience will understand his statement as I had no sexual contact of any kind with that woman. This is a corruption of the argument from logos, and a tactic often used in American jurisprudence. Historically, this referred to a tactic used during the Reformation era religious wars in Europe when people were forced to swear loyalty to one or another side, and did as demanded via equivocation, i.e., when I solemnly swore true faith and allegiance to the king, I really meant to King Jesus, King of Kings, and not to the evil usurper squatting on the throne today. Like I said, that's not my opinion, or you know what I mean. I'm just reading what's here. I'm not religious. Never been into organised religion ever. This latter form of fallacy is excessively rare today when the swearing of oaths has become effectively meaningless, except as obscenity or as a speech formally subject to perjury penalties in legal or judicial settings. Right. I'm just going to go to number 53. I've got this one here. Eschatological fallacy. That's the ancient fallacy of arguing this world is coming to an end, so popularly refuted by the observation that since the world is coming to an end, you don't need your life savings anyhow, so why not give it all to me? I don't want your life savings, by the way, I'm just reading what's here. Not bothered about money, to be honest. It's just a fiat currency, it don't mean I'm happy as I am. And the truth should be free anyway, so that's why I don't monetize, not make any money from it or anything else. Number 48, esoteric knowledge. Number 49, essentializing. Number 50, the etymological fallacy. I wasn't going to do this one, but I'm going to do this one because I have found myself doing this when I put down, well, even the word aqua literally means even level surface. The etymology of the word aqua and stuff like that, right? And other words in etymology. Although it's true, that's what they mean and everything else, it's still really a fallacy when you're putting it in an argument and stuff like that. So I had to tell people that, but when you're using it as part of an argument, it is a fallacy. But people need to know this as well, I mean, so that's why I do it. They need to know that the etymology of the word aqua literally means even level surface. It's It says also the underlying meaning, a fallacy of logos, drawing false conclusions from the most often long forgotten linguistic origins of a current word or the alleged meanings or associations of that word in another language. Example, as used in physics, electronics, and electrical engineering, the terms hysteresis is grossly sexist since it originally came from the Greek word for uterus or womb, or I refuse to eat fish. Don't you know that the French word for fish is poisson? Looks like poison, which looks just like the English word poison, yeah. And doesn't that suggest something to you? Famously, postmodern philosopher Jacques Derrida played on this fallacy to great length in his 1968 Plato's Pharmacy. But saying that, when I do mention like the word aqua, the etymology of the word aqua literally does mean even level surface. From a book that I've got as a PDF, Saint Isidore of Seville. It's worth having a look. Just Google Saint Isidore of Seville in English PDF. It's a good book to have a look at. It's from Oxford University Press. It's a publication from Oxford University. It is good to look at etymology of words and stuff. I did a video about it a while ago about the etymology of words and stuff. If I remember, I'll leave a link in this video to that video, then you can get the link to the PDF and stuff so you can have a look. Right, I was going to go down now to number 53. False analogy. The fallacy of incorrectly comparing one thing to another in order to draw a false conclusion. Example, just like an alley cat needs to prowl, a normal adult can't be tied down to one single lover. The opposite of this fallacy is the sui generis fallacy, also difference. A postmodern stance that it rejects the validity of analogy and of inductive reasoning altogether because any given individual, place, thing, or idea under consideration is sui generis, i.e. different and unique in a class unto itself. 54, finish the job. 55, the free speech fallacy. 56, fundamental attribution error. 57, here we are, we'll do this one. Gaslighting. A recently prominent vicious fallacy of logic. Denying or invalidating an individual's own knowledge and experience by deliberately twisting or distorting known facts, memories, scenes, events, and evidence in order to disorient a vulnerable opponent and to make him or her doubt his or her sanity. Example, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? Or, you claim you found me in bed with her, think again, you're crazy. You seriously need to see a shrink. A very common, though cruel instance of gaslighting that seems to have been particularly familiar among mid-20th century generations is the fallacy of emotional invalidation. Questioning after the fact the reality or validity of affective states, either another's or one's own. Example, sure, I made it happen from beginning to end, but it wasn't me doing it, it was just my stupid hormones betraying me. Or, you didn't really mean it when you said you hate mummy. Now take a time out and you'll feel better. Or, no, you're not really in love, it's just infatuation. Or puppy love. The fallacy of gaslighting is named after British playwright Patrick Hamilton's 1938 stage play Gaslight, also known as Angel Street. See also Blind Loyal, the Big Brain, Little Brain fallacy, the Affective fallacy, and Alternative Truth. Right, we're going to go to number 58, Guilt by Association. So we seem to see this a lot as well. The fallacy of trying to refute or condemn someone's standpoint, arguments, or actions by evoking the negative ethos of those with whom the speaker is identified or of a group, party, religion, or race to which he or she belongs. See people like me and some of you probably watching, they go, oh, you're a flat earther. So then they don't want to know, they condemn you. They refute and condemn you and condemn your standpoint and your arguments and everything and actions and everything because they think, oh, no, you're a flat earther. Yeah, so that's guilt by association. Yeah. Although everyone's an individual, you should stand on your own 2 feet. Don't believe anything anybody ever says. I've always said this. Find out for yourself. Get a knowing. Look your stuff up yourself. Go and have a look at it. Don't just take it from this, what I'm showing you. Go and have a look in other locations and look up each fallacy from multiple sources and go and have a look. Find it from different places to show that it's correct and what I'm saying is correct and everything else. No, we're not finished this one yet, have we? Excuse me. Those with whom the speaker is identified of group, party, religion or race, to which he or she belongs or was once associated with. A form of ad hominem argument, example, don't listen to her, she's a Republican, so you can't trust anything she says. Not that politics makes a difference anyway, because it doesn't, it's bullshit. Or, are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? An extreme instance of this is the Machiavellian, for my enemies nothing fallacy, where real or perceived enemies are by definition always wrong and must be conceded nothing, not even the time of day. Example, he's a Republican, so even if he had said the sky is blue, I wouldn't believe him. Right? Like I said, it's the for my enemies nothing fallacy, where real or perceived enemies, you know what I mean? So, 59, the half-truth. Also, card stacking the deck, incomplete information, a corrupt argument from Logos, the fallacy of consciously selecting, collecting, and sharing only that evidence that supports one's own standpoint, telling the strict truth, but deliberately minimizing or omitting important key details in order to falsify the larger picture and support a false conclusion. Example, the truth is that Bangladesh is one of the world's fastest growing countries and composed of a young, ambitious and hard-working population, a family-positive culture, a delightful, warm climate of tropical beaches and swaying palms, where it never snows, low-cost medical and dental care, a vibrant faith tradition and a multitude of places of worship, an exquisite, world-class spicy local curry cuisine and a swinging entertainment scene. Taken together, all these solid facts clearly prove that Bangladesh is one of the world's most desirable places for young families to live, work and raise a family. See also confirmation bias. I don't know what Bangladesh is like. I've never been, so I couldn't tell you. Number 60 is hero busting. I'll go to 64. Heroes all, Hoyle's fallacy. I wish I had a magic wand. Identity fallacy. Also identity politics. Die away, ye old forms and logic. A corrupt postmodern argument from ethos. So ethos is again an argument from authority, appeal to authority, ethos. A variant of the argumentum ad hominem in which the validity of one's logic, evidence, experience or arguments depends not on their own strength, but rather on whether the one arguing is a member of a given social class, generation, nationality, religious or ethnic group, colour, gender or sexual orientation, profession, occupation or subgroup. In this fallacy, valid opposing evidence and arguments are brushed aside or othered without comment or consideration, are simply not worth arguing about solely because of the lack of proper background or authority of the individual making the argument. Yeah? We seem to see this a lot in this globe discussion. This shape of the earth discussion. Where are we now? Or because the one arguing does not self-identify as a member of the in-group. Example, you'd understand me right away if you were Burmese, but since you're not, there's no way I can explain it to you. Or nobody but another nurse can know what a nurse has to go through. Identity fallacies are reinforced by common ritual language and discourse. However, these fallacies are occasionally self-interested, driven by the egotistical ambitions of academics, politicians and would-be group leaders, anxious to build their own careers by carving out a special identity group constituency to the exclusion of existing broader-based identities and leadership. An identity fallacy may lead to scorn or rejection of potentially useful allies, real or prospective, because they are not of one's own identity. The identity fallacy promotes an exhaustive, sometimes cultish do for self philosophy, which in today's world virtually guarantees self-marginalization and ultimate defeat. A recent application of the identity fallacy is the fallacious accusation of cultural appropriation, in which those who are not of the right identity are condemned for appropriating the cuisine, clothing, language, or music of a marginalized group, forgetting the old axiom that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Accusations of cultural appropriation very often stem from competing selfish economic interests. Example, what right do those, I don't know what that, some gringos, I don't know, have to set up a taco place right here on Guadalupe Drive to take away business from Donna Teresa's Taqueria. They even dare to play Mexican music in their dining room. That's cultural appropriation. It's also othering. Right. There's infotainment, fake news, infowars. Corrupt and dangerous modern media-driven fallacy deliberately and knowingly stirs in facts, news, falsities, and outright lies with entertainment, a mixture usually concocted for specific base ideological and profit-making motives. I'm not going to read all that one because I'm not going to do that one, but you can have a look at that, pause it, and have a look if you want. Number 66, no, 64, we've done number 64, didn't we? Yeah, identity fallacy. Next one I was going to do was number 72, just do it, just playing folks. Law of unintended consequences, lying with statistics. I wasn't going to do this one, but I'm going to have a quick look at this one. Lying with statistics, the contemporary fallacy of misusing true figures and numbers to prove unrelated claims. Example, in real terms, attending college has never been cheaper than it is now. When expressed as a percentage of the national debt, the cost of getting a college education is actually far less today than it was back in 1965. A corrupted argument from Logos, often preying on the public's perceived actual mathematical ignorance. This includes a tiny percentage fallacy, that an amount or action that is quite significant in and of itself somehow becomes insignificant simply because it's a tiny percentage of something much larger. There we go. Magical thinking, no. Malafides, yeah, arguing in bad faith, also sophism. Using an argument that an arguer himself or herself knows is not valid. Example, an unbeliever attacking believers by throwing verses from their own holy scriptures at them, or a lawyer arguing for the innocence of someone whom she or he knows full well to be guilty. This latter is a common practice in American jurisprudence and is sometimes portrayed as the worst face of sophism. Bradley Stephens for pointing out this fallacy. Included under this fallacy is a fallacy of motivational truth, also demagogy or campaign promises, deliberately lying to the people to gain their support or motivate them towards some action the retort perceives to be desirable, using evil discursive means towards a good material end. A particularly bizarre and corrupt form of this latter fallacy is self-deception, also whistling by the graveyard, in which one deliberately and knowingly deludes oneself in order to achieve a goal, or perhaps simply to suppress anxiety and maintain one's energy level. Enthusiasm, morale, peace of mind, or sanity in moments of adversity. We get this a lot with these globers and all malafides, using an argument that the arguer himself or herself knows is not valid. Measurability, mind reading, moral licensing, moral superiority, mortification, moving the goalposts, also changing the rules, all's fair in love and war, the nuclear option, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. The fallacy of Logos, demanding certain proof or evidence, a certain degree of support or a certain number of votes to decide an issue. And then when this is offered, demanding even more. We get this a lot with these globers. They say, oh yeah, well you'll have to do this. So someone goes out and they do it. And then they see it and they go, yeah, but you'll have to, we need to see a little bit further for this curvature and stuff. You need to get an observation that's like 1,000 miles or an observation that's 10,000 miles or whatever. I mean, you have to get higher than 125,000 feet. You have to go to 250,000 feet. I mean, stuff like that. It's, you know what I mean? It's, they're always moving the goalposts. Where are we? Deciding issue. And then when it is offered, demanding even more. Different or better support in order to deny victory to an opponent. For those who practice the fallacy of moral superiority above, moving the goalposts is often perceived as perfectly good and permissible if necessary to prevent the victory of wickedness and ensure the triumph on one's own side, i.e. the righteous. Right? But we get this from these lobbies a lot, moving the goalposts, because they think it's necessary to prevent the victory of somebody. They think they've got to win all the time. Number 80. Not that there is an us and them. That's a false dichotomy. There is no us versus them. This is about objective reality, not anything like that. Number 80. Name calling. I'm going to do this in the next one, because this one's gone on a bit long now. Thank you.